Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Dun dun dun. Dun dun.
That's how we start all our web. Dun dun dun.
Hello, hello,
Hello, guys.
Let me get my question box.
You guys out there? Everybody there? You hear us? Make sure all that stuff's good. What's up, Bill? What's up, Dan?
There you go.
I'm gonna grab the screen.
We've been talking about music stuff for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Did you guys see on Herc's Facebook wall his video he did for his remake of Sober? Anybody see that? You should check it out. Pretty freaking cool.
Where is that? I got all musical the other night. I was like, I want to get back into music, and I started posting a bunch of band stuff. It was this one right here. It was an old acoustic cover that I did of a Tool song called Sober. So upstairs.
Yeah, man. If you guys ever listen to some Tool and know that song Sober, you'll like that. Pretty cool. We got here.
Thanks.
Hey, Bill.
That's good, man. We got a couple more. We're adding a couple more days too, just because just the way the last Webbies have went, we were realizing, there's so much more info that we could cover for you, like, the PBN stuff, which today I'm going to show you a lot of PBN stuff again. More on the back end, setting them up and then linking to from them. Stuff like that today. And then, of course, we're going to go over some cool tools that you guys can use for when you're ranking and renting your sites, stuff like that, the sales process.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys appreciate it. I read a note in the support desk. This guy's like, I'm in this group, and I'm in that group, and I'm in this group, and I'm in that group, and when are you guys going to teach me something I don't already know? And I'm like, why did you even buy coaching if you know everything, Yeah. I didn't even respond yet. I was like, oh, God.
I'll go respond. I'm evil in my responses sometimes. I sit there and I think about how I want to respond.
I wanted to, but then I was like, you know what? That's not even worth it, because people that know everything, then there's just really no argument. You can't argue with them. You'll be there forever.
Yeah.
But, we can't start talking about, cloaking links, right? Then everybody would be up in arms because they didn't learn the basics. And I think most people in here want a beginning to end type of training. I think it benefits everybody the most. So yeah, I know, Martin, that's what I was saying. It's like, I'd rather just refund you than listen to you tell me stuff like that. Thomas from the UK. No, not at all.
Sometimes it's easier. Everybody get the new update? Came out? This is a big one.
Yes,
images for your affiliate short codes, which is, I can't believe we didn't have that in there far earlier. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll put a big fat image right in the middle of your content. Kind of like an ad image.
Yeah.
Bradley says those people are called SMOPs, smartest man on the planet. Gregory says, I've been in customer service fixing computers for 20 years. I know what you're saying about some customers. They buy a sandwich and want a 7-course meal.
So I definitely got some stuff for you guys today about the back end of PBNs. But before I do that, I just want to ask everybody how they feel about the last webinar, and like when we taught you guys, where to get expireds, how to get drop catches, how to get auctions. Did you guys get some good info there? We can cover more of that in the Q&A after today if you want. I know, Martin, you had asked me some questions privately that we can definitely go over. But I just want to make sure you guys have a pretty firm understanding of the PBN acquiring process, because today is going to be more about the setups and then actually the backlinking. So I'm going to show you some actual posts that were made for the spray foam site, which the whole training is kind of based around, so that you guys see that all.
Yeah, I heard about a badass domain this past week that we discovered while researching.
You know what's funny? I think that we actually might have even showed that domain in the last Webby. I don't remember.
We did.
We did? So if you guys want to know, go look it up. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but if you're curious enough, I think if you go to the last Webby and go through what we were doing, you can find out the domain that I bought. And I'll tell you this. I initially, when I bought it, was going to use it for a PBN. And now I want to really start focusing on building big affiliate sites. I have a couple other affiliate sites that my girlfriend started and I've had a hand in that are both making good money and ranking really well for some pretty big health niche keywords. And I want to start from scratch with a good, powerful domain and use Project Supremacy and do an affiliate style site. So if you guys want to see that, go look at the last. I'm not going to tell you the domain, of course. I'll make it not that easy for you, but I think it was in the last Webby. If you guys go look it up, we can at least visit that domain once in a while and see what's going on. Don't. Yeah, Martin.
Hey, I'm going to mute myself real back. My wife's blowing me up here. I got to call her back. Be right back.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, Martin, I could probably cover that. Possibly a little bit today. Maybe I can go over some keyword research stuff today for anybody that likes big affiliate sites and how to start those out. But I am gonna start with the back end PBN stuff today, and the NASHRAF international SEO. You'll have to be specific on the questions about it that you want to get answered, and we'll save that stuff for the Q&A today. So what I'm going to teach you guys today, if you're all pretty comfortable from the acquiring PBN stuff from the last coaching session, today we're going to talk about setups, what I do once I have them. Okay. First of all, once you get the domain, if you're doing expireds, they're going to go into your the registrar that you're shopping with. I don't do anything crazy like what everybody else talks about with like the only measure of protection I take with my registrars is host privacy. I don't use fake names and all that stuff like everybody else does. I feel like those are the fear mongering people that take those extra steps, and I feel like they may help you, but it's on such a small scale, like it's maybe 1 to 5% of your overall domain inventory to take all that extra steps. So I've never really done it, and I've never really had a problem. I've gone through 2 of the big de-indexing phases for PBNs, and I've never been hit over 5% with de-indexes. I think even the de-indexes that did happen were just really stupid mistakes on my part, or just natural de-indexes from just crappy domains that shouldn't have been indexed in the first place. I've never been hit with anything. So I'm just going to show you my setup and keep that information in mind, that this is what I do. There are extra layers of protection that you can take if you're kind of like the paranoid type. But once again, these do work for me. So when you win your domains, guys, expireds, they can go into your registrar, just set up the name servers, point them to whatever hosting account you want. With hosting, what I use, I have a very wide mix of hosting. I use a lot of $1 and $2 hosting that you can find just on Google, just like this. Okay, and just start going through, like HoboHost I use, MyTrueHost I used, Host Ripples I use, 3iX I use, Link Alone I use, AI Cheap Web Hosting I use, Waxspace I use. You can see I use a lot of them. The only requirement that I'm looking for in my host is that I have cPanel, because I need cPanel in all my hosting to do quick setups for WordPress and stuff like that. Share Hosting Martin I haven't heard of, but I would use them. So I do use a lot of those guys. I also do use IP Networks, and I haven't had a problem with them. I do like them. I also use Easy Blog Networks. I also use Todd's PBN hosting. I use them all, and I just have a wide variety of, and this is also because, guys, I have a lot of PBNs. I think I'm around 150 PBNs now. So I want to use a lot of different hosting because I want unique IPs on every single host. I don't have a single host where I'm putting 2 sites on the same host. So that's why I have so much of everything. And I would recommend that for you guys. If you're just starting out, with like 10 sites or whatever, I would just go with these dollar hosts. They work pretty fine. Now, I have heard even Todd, and I've heard a lot of other people's mention neighborhood issues. You put your PBN in a bad neighborhood and bad things could happen. Or maybe that's more meant for money sites. My experience with it hasn't been a problem. Once again, maybe I'm the luckiest guy on the planet. I don't know. I really don't know. Todd, are you around?
Yeah, I'm here.
Was that neighborhood issue, was that PBNs or money sites or what?
It can be both. A lot of times, if a lot of people have a lot of bad PBNs on the same IP, then they can get all lumped in one bad neighborhood. Money sites, you could be on an IP when you're sharing with someone who either has maybe they got hacked and they're doing a lot of spamming, or have malware, and that kind of stuff goes on, or they're adult related, things like that can be a bad neighborhood. And if some network decides that they want to null route that IP, then they can.
What are the chances, like, of Google, say you set up a PBN in a bad neighborhood and Google's gonna de-index everybody on that IP address because, what would you say the chances of that happening are?
Oh, they're low, probably somewhere between 10 and 15%. It is low, but it's just one of those risk factors that, if it's worth it to you or not, kind of thing. It's slow. It's low. It doesn't happen
and then
too often.
Like, if it did happen, say you set up, a host, bad neighborhood, they wipe out the neighborhood. Now, is that just the IP pool that is like, if you take that website, move it to a new host on a good neighborhood, can you get that re-indexed?
You can.
It's not your site they're penalizing, it's the neighborhood.
Right.
In general. So just get out of the neighborhood, just move to a new host.
Yeah, you can always try that first. If you ever get a site de-indexed, I would definitely change the host, change the IP, see if that will bring it back. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. Sometimes it could be you. Sometimes you will get de-indexed just because you were targeted. You were, they discovered your. I'll tell you a story. Back in October of 2013, Google went after all the eSig affiliate marketers because all the eSig actual product owners were getting pissed off because all the people in the top 10 were all affiliate sites, and they were selling their products and having to pay all these commissions to all these affiliates when their site, their root URLs all got smashed down to page 2. So they were having to buy AdWords to get on page 1. And I'm pretty sure that one of those companies went in there and started complaining that all of the top 10 in the eSig market were affiliate sites, and Google just went in and decided, yeah, you're right, and they're all using private blog networks, so they just took every single affiliate site in the top 10 of Google and kicked them all out and de-indexed all their networks. And if you know anything about the e-cig market, it's really competitive, and most of the guys that were doing it were really big, and you know several of them, and so do I.
I think we all do.
And they all got blasted, and all their PBNs got de-indexed, and everyone was pointing the fingers upwards and downwards and sideways and at the hosts and everything else. And it's like, no, man, you got targeted just like everybody else did, and you got taken out because you were playing in a field where, you know, it happened. It's kind of like payday loans and other black hat markets. You wouldn't think e-cig, you know, would have been busted like that, but and the reason being is because it was highly publicized about, there was a lot of training going on and a lot of information and a lot of data being spread about how lucrative that e-cig market was. So like all these people jumped in on it. All these people jumped in on it, and they all started ranking. And like I said, they pissed off the manufacturers, and somebody got to Google, and they all got taken out. And it was purely based on, if you had a site that linked to that affiliate site, they crawled them all, they reviewed them all, and de-indexed them all. You know, I had guys in my hosting that got their sites, got their PBNs de-indexed, but it was only the domains, because I had a big investigation on this. Only the domains that linked to e-cig sites were de-indexed. All the rest of the domains in their network were fine. So it's pretty obvious what happened. It was very clear. So sometimes if you're a target, you're just a target.
Just a target for based on the content, not necessarily the neighborhood or not necessarily the setup.
No, you're based on, you're using those domains to rank money sites in the e-cig market, and your PBNs didn't really look like real informative sites, right? They were just, you know, you can kind of tell if you look at them hard enough. I know Herc does a really, really, really good job of making them seem really, really legit, and that's good practice. And that's why you've always, you know, been so lucky, if you want to call it that way.
I don't even know that, to be honest. Like, I don't think, like, I'm going to show you guys some, like, for instance, this one and stuff. Like, these are actually PBNs I used in spray foam, and we'll get to this, but I'll show you guys how I set it up. But I mean, if I was and this is the page, just because I do have other links on here that I can't share with you guys, and you can try to access this, and most people won't be able to. But I don't really feel like I do too much to make it look like a real website. It's definitely a blog. It's definitely 20 posts on the home page, like a PBN. But for some reason, I'm left alone.
You know what I think it is? I think it's your theming. You're leaving the theme alone.
Yeah, I definitely leave the theme and the title alone. And I can show you guys that. It's very easy to do.
I was doing some research last week, and I was reading some very educational articles from some pretty experienced guys, and they made a lot of sense. You know, I mean, it's not something that I didn't already know, but it wasn't something that I was so sold on. I mean, used to you never had to do that kind of thing, but nowadays it's more important that you do. And I was reading a lot of really good research on this topic, and looking at how to bring back all of the old content from an old domain, either when you get it at auction, because once you get the domain, you win it. There's no content comes with it. You got to go get it. And there's so I was looking for a good archive.org scraper. I have one myself that I've been developing for a while, but I tell you, it's not easy. Some sites are not easy to recreate. So I was down that road of looking at maybe try to get some ideas on how other people were doing it so I could improve mine. And I came across some articles on why you should do it and how beneficial it is. And you know, if you can get it right, and it's not cheap, it's an extra expense to use one of those services to pull down all the archive.org content to recreate the site. Like you could recreate all of this site exactly the way it is, and then slip in your links on the home page, you know, here and there, I guess.
Okay, I'm going to kind of getting a little off track, but what I want to talk to you guys to kind of backtrack a bit. So once I have my registration, you know, and my hosting, like I said, where was I? I was at hosting. I use a lot of different types of hosting, all over the place, guys. And then, you know, I just put a WordPress on it. And so kind of like going back to the archive thing, when I'm buying my domains, I'm always checking them out on archive and what they were. Okay. You can see this was Millie Supply site. I look what it's obviously they sold military supply stuff. Okay. And I know that when I'm setting up my PBN because I look back at it and I want to keep it generally in this theme because that's what it was. And if you think about it, all the links that naturally were coming to this site are going to be about military supply stuff. Like all the natural links that were built are all about that. So when I build the site, I keep it that. It's, you know, military supply is the PBN. We supply our military with all this useful info they need, whatever. It's probably a pretty weak description. But I'm trying to keep the PBN in the same topical category as what it was naturally before I acquired it. From there, all I ever do, guys, and I'll show you the plugins and shit that I put on there. Actually, I'll show you that right now. So the title of whatever it was, I try and keep the same. Then the next thing I obviously do is set it up. So I'm just going to go in here and show you guys what plugins I put on these. And you're going to see it's like pretty simple. And, okay. And just out of curiosity, guys, give me a 1 if you guys are trying to access this site on your own and it's not coming up. Give me a 1 if you are trying to and it's not coming up. Give me a 2 if you can see it on your own. Most people are saying no. Okay, good. That's the point. So you guys can see the stuff that I have on here. I don't even know why this one's on here. AdSense privacy policy. That's retarded. I think Google or WordPress comes automatically with Hello Dolly and a Qzx900, which this is the most stupid plugin in the world. I don't know why it's there. And then a Qzx900 is a spam plugin for helping you block your spam. So from there, guys, the stuff that I put on is Spider Spanker Nuke and Contact Form 7. Like it's pretty crazy. Oh, and now I know why this one. I do some sort of privacy plugin. And that's probably why I chose this one, and I don't always use the same privacy plugins just to kind of mix things up a bit. Spider Spanker is Todd's plugin, and what that does is pretty important. Number one, it keeps you guys, like how you're trying to look at my site and you can't. You have to know there's a backdoor key that you can provide, you can set up inside of Spider Spanker so that if you wanted to give someone access, you just give them that key and they add it to the URL. And then they can see your site. But what's happening, guys, is because you're visiting the site as like, what do you call it, Todd? They're a real, you know what I mean here, a user versus a search engine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're blocking you guys, but Google is allowed in. So when the Google bots come along, they can come in and they can read all the content and they can see everything exactly as it is. And the reason I'm doing that is because I protect my PBNs from being seen by other people. It protects my links. It protects my customers. It just overall is just such a killer plugin, and I believe is a huge part of the reason why I'm not losing sites.
Yeah, one of the big reasons behind that plugin was it kind of defeats a manual review. And because what happens is if your site is manually reviewed by someone at Google looking to, you know, take it down, well, they show up and they get an error code like 550 server broken, right? An error code. And so how do you make a decision on a site if it's broken, right? I mean, you can't see what it is. And if you can't see what it is, then, you know, you probably can't make, you know, an informed decision on whether or not this is a site used as a PBN. And so they just go away, and maybe they don't come back.
Yeah. I saw someone actually earlier ask a question, Martin. How does Google know if you have a PBN for them to de-index it? How they get tipped off about it, I don't really know. There's probably a lot of different ways. Maybe competition sees that you're using the PBN. Maybe you're sloppy with your PBN setups and someone sees your money site and reverse engineers your links and then reports you to Google. I know that that's happened. There's probably a bunch of different ways that it happens, Martin. But that's one of the reasons, like, I just love Spider Spanker because that eliminates anybody spying on anything. Like, you can't see, like, even if you go to Majestic with my money sites and you try to do a backlink lookup on Majestic, people will, like, for one of my money sites, like, for instance, the one that I have in the health niche, if you go to Majestic or Ahrefs or whatever and you try to look at the backlinks, it shows a trust flow and a citation flow of 0, yet it's ranking on the first page for, like, one of the harder terms, and people are like, what the hell's going on? And they can't analyze me. They can't analyze my money site that way, and that's because Spider Spanker nukes on my PBNs. So it's blocking those crawlers too, even like the Majestics and that shit. So it goes so far and does such a good job at blocking not only Google manual reviews, people reviews, backlink spies, shit like that. It's just a really, really good, safe plugin to have on your site. I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in about Spider Spanker too.
First of all, there are 2 versions of Spider Spanker Pro and Spider Spanker Nuke, and the best way to explain it is Spider Spanker Pro allows everything and stops some. Spider Spanker Nuke blocks, allows none and only allows spiders. Did I say that right?
I think, it blocks everything except for certain shit.
Yeah.
And you can control that.
Spider Spanker Pro was the original one, and then I got the idea for Nuke a couple of years later. I think I brought Nuke out about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Spider Spanker Pro's been around for 7, 8 years. Yeah,
and I was using Pro before Nuke was around, and now
Pro's really good for your money sites, and just in the fact that it just blocks a lot of the trash spiders that just hit your site and take down your resources and use up your stuff. Like, you don't need Baidu. Baidu bot, when China first released Baidu on the world, it was crazy. And Yandex, the Russian search engine, was the same way. And, they were killing money sites if they're large money sites. And so you block those 2 spiders because, you don't really care to rank in a Russian or a Chinese search engine unless that's your market. And for most of us, that's not the case. So, and it also integrates with Project Honeypot, which eliminates some known hackers and spammers from coming to your site. So that's also a benefit. You can also block certain countries. I just blocked the whole country of China, Russia, North Korea, all the Middle East. I recommend blocking a lot of hackers that are coming in from Syria and Palestine.
I should show them that. I'm gonna pull my screen away and show them that live traffic, because it's all China. I just don't want to hang on, guys. Sorry, Todd. I just wanted to show them that.
So go ahead. So let me ask if there's any more questions.
Where is?
Yeah, it's just at spiderspanker.com, by the way. Ronald, it allows Googlebot. He says, Spider Spanker, we prevent the spies, including all the tools in the market, yes, and it allows in the crawlers.
So you guys can see here, this is that Millie Supply site with Spider Spanker on it, and I'm under the settings tab, and it has a live traffic feed of what's coming in, so you can actually see, spider, visitor, 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 spider, spider, and these ones are allowed in. Spiders are, yeah, come on in, visitors, no. That's probably all you guys actually trying to get in. But you can see that, and then you can even see like the countries that are coming in or trying to access your site and shit, and if you see a lot of Chinese and stuff, nothing against Chinese people, they're great, just stay out of my sites. So anyways, guys, I'm going to kind of back up a little bit, and we can go over Spider Spanker in much more detail too if you want. I just want to get through the setup and stuff and how we do things. So you can see, guys, like it's a very simple setup that I use, okay? So we're keeping the same theme. We're keeping the same title as the blog. Plugins are very minuscule amount of plugins. Spider Spanker Nuke for me is a must. It's on every single one. And then for a theme, it's really, I'm just picking a theme. Like I'll go through themes and all I'm doing is making sure that my theme will allow for full, okay, so for my PBNs, guys, I use posts, not pages. And the reason I use posts is because I want all my posts on the home page. So if I go to my, you can see my settings reading in WordPress. Yeah, nuclear mode's cool. It just means nuke everybody. So you can see, guys, like my front page on my PBNs, I don't have a static page. I use my latest posts because on my PBNs, I only use posts. And then actually this usually should be set to about 20 because I try to max myself out at 20 posts. And I'll show you a post and I'll talk about how many times you can link to certain things and what can be included on a post and everything. But typically I only allow 20 posts to be on my homepage feed. So the reason I'm talking about this is because then you have to find a theme that will support full posts on your front page. And I wouldn't say most, but there's a lot of themes that actually only allow for snippets of posts, but you want the full post so that it shows up like this, whereas a snippet maybe would be the first 200 words and then it would be ... And it would do that. If I had 5 posts, I'd have 5 snippets, and then maybe I'm not actually getting my actual link. Like you can see it's way down here. If this was a snippet, that link wouldn't actually be on the home page. You'd have to click into the actual post itself to have that link show up, and then that way you're linking from a weaker inner page rather than the stronger home page. Does that make sense, everybody? Give me a 1 if that makes sense, or 2 if you need more explanation. Okay, good. All right, so no, if no one can see my site, Martin, that doesn't matter, because for me, the purpose of a PBN isn't a human purpose. It's a internet. It's a Google purpose. A PBN for me is only to please Google. I'm not trying to make anybody proud of my site or think how beautiful it is or anything. It's got nothing to do with humans. It's got only to do with the Google Spider. I want them to spider the site. I want them to find the backlink, which leads to my money site, and then through this link, the power is being the power of this site, Usenet2, which is a really powerful site, by the way, transfers to the money site, and that's the only purpose of it. And that's why they honestly don't.
Pass and link juice.
Yeah, pass and link juice. They should call it PLJ. Pass and link juice, not PBN.
We don't block Googlebot, Yahoo Slurp, and MSN Bot. Those are basically the only 3 that we allow in the site.
Yeah, Thomas, that's kind of like the reverse of what Martin asked. It's like, this is for Google. So no, you definitely do not want to block Google from your PBNs because that's who it's for. Google needs to see this in order to transfer, power over to the money site. All right. Then I'm going to go into a post. I'm going to pull out a post. Let me think about what else I got. So that's my basic setup, guys, and it's really quite easy. It's not overly complicated. Yeah, we allow all search engines, Martin. Mainly, the big ones like Yahoo, Bing, Google. We allow search engines. We disallow people.
Mm-hmm.
Where I set up my title and stuff like that on these guys is in general settings, just kind of to go over this for the PBN. And this is typically in the setup process of the PBN through either your host or Fantastico or whoever it is. Like, they'll ask you what's your site title, what's your site tagline, and that's where I put those. And these are always going to match the archive.org information. So it was a military supply site. It's going to stay a military supply site. So that's where just so you know, that's where the title, I'm losing my track, my things here, but that's where the title stays. Where did it go? Go through there we go. All right. One thing I would tell you guys, since you're all Project Supremacy owners, and this isn't something I've tested yet, and I really think I should, because when we built Project Supremacy, as it was getting, more and more features into it, I realized I was like, holy shit, Project Supremacy would actually be a killer PBN plugin as well, simply for the fact that, I mean, if you were working, say you were building links for a client, you could, with Project Supremacy on a PBN, number one, you can order your content from within the PBN, which is really nice. Number two, when you put your articles into the post editor, building in the images and pulling in YouTube videos and stuff like that, the traditional stuff that comes with building a post, Project Supremacy handles that stuff really, really quickly. But the really cool thing that I thought was, what if you built a post and you added schema to that post with your client's address, or you geotagged an image with your client's address, just adding, a little extra power from your PBN. I just thought it would be a really cool thing. I haven't tested it yet, but I really, really should, actually. You guys should too. All right, now I'm going to go to a post. So anybody have any questions about setups? I know it was pretty simple, but I mean, honestly, guys, the way I do things is pretty simple. So I'm just going to look back to see if there's any questions here on setups. Hey, Todd, do you see that Martin's question? Is there any Spider Spanker set? There is video tutorials if you buy Spider Spanker, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Martin, they're already there.
It's pretty simple, really. There's not much to it.
It is simple.
Click a few buttons. It comes with default settings, and yeah, there's really not much. And the one thing cool about Pro and Nuke is that once you get all your settings like you want them, then you can share that to all of the other domains that have Spider Spanker Pro, on.
Yeah, which for me was like such a killer feater.
Yeah, it definitely was, because if you make one change, you can make one change on any of your blogs in your network, and you're like, oh yeah, that, I want to pass this around to every other site in my network. Then all you have to do is, you already have them set there. All you do is say share settings, and it goes and pops them all in. So that's a real time saver.
Okay, so how do you make the whole text show on the home page? Bill, that's basically a theme thing. Let me show you. Because that is an important part. You definitely want your whole post showing up. So you gotta have to make sure you got the right theme first of all. So you might have to kind of try a couple different themes, but the blog setting to get that to happen is, I believe, under reading or writing. I'll check. Okay, right here it is under reading. So if you go to general settings, reading, right here, for each article in a feed, show either full text or summary. First thing you should do in your setup is make sure that's a full text setup for full text. And then this setting I usually set to 20. Like I said, I want 20 posts on my thing. And then this is latest posts. So the three settings on this page are latest posts instead of static page, 20 posts, and the full text, and then click Save Changes. Obviously, search engine visibility, leave that off, because this means discourage search engines, but we want to encourage search engines to see this site. So that's where you put the text. Go ahead.
And I'm also going to drop a link into your chat box here, because there are some themes that are pre-programmed that won't work on that full text. So I know it's a little bit geeky and codey, but there's a little tutorial there on how to edit your home.php inside of your site. So just another resource there in case you just absolutely love some theme, you don't want to get rid of it, but it's showing excerpts There is a way to change that in the coding of the theme. And you know what? If you can't figure it out, you can pay somebody $5 from Odesk to do it for you too. It's, for sure. It's not a big deal, but sometimes you do need to go deeper than that click. I've had to do it.
Yeah, definitely. For me, it was always just changing a theme. But like Todd said, if you really like your theme, which sometimes I really do, that could probably help. Just want to answer these questions. Martin's asking about my HOAS. So my PBN will not appear in HOAS. So this is an example. Here's that site in HOAS, Martin. You look it up. All you can really see is that it's my registrar is Phoenix, which that's who I used to drop catch domains, guys, from last week's training. So this was a drop caught domain for 20 bucks. But I put HOAS privacy on everything because I don't want my name, you know, and my frickin' home address showing up, because then I get a bunch of surprise visitors when I'm doing weird shit at home. But yeah, it shouldn't show up, Martin, if you have HOAS privacy set up. And that's for every registrar. Because I work with a whole whack of registrars too. I'll kind of give you guys an idea here of how much stuff I work with. In 1 sec. Let me open this up.
I just put another link to a domain registrar in your chat box, and they give free whois privacy, free private whois with every registration and renewal, so you can save a few bucks. Now you should also mix up your registrars a little bit there. Use 4 or 5 different ones, register at different times. So you're not always going to get free whois every single time you register a domain, but Internet BS is pretty cool. They have some really good back-end organization tools, so they're good to use, and they'll save you a few bucks. I mean, it's not a big deal unless you have, you know, if you have 100 per year to register, then you're talking about $600–700 a year for that privacy, right?
Yeah.
So
just so you guys see, I have a folder for domains, and I have one for web hosts that I work with. These are all the registrars I work with, right here. And then you can see these are all the web hosts that I work with. So it's like there's a lot of stuff here, guys. So just to give you an example. But yeah, HOAS, good. Privacy, good. So that was that question. That was that question. Is there any issue using PSP2 plugin on the PBN as it mentions an email address to register? No, Stuart. That email address is just for our license engine, just to make sure that people are licensed. So it's not going to worry. You would not.
Nobody can. That information is never publicly available on the public side of your blog.
Nor is it available to a crawler.
Yeah, no. The only thing crawlers see is whatever's on the HTML on the public-facing side. None of the back-end code, none of that stuff can be seen.
Martin, yeah, I do actually use that. He's asking if I use. Sometimes actually I do, sometimes I don't. He's asking about the oh shit, what do you call them? Permalinks settings.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you use the post name or the actual numbers or whatever. And honestly, there it doesn't matter as much, because that's only important as an SEO factor when you're trying to rank something. So I'll mix it up here a little bit. Sometimes I use post name, and sometimes I don't touch it at all. I just use the plain one, which is like the question mark P123, because you're not trying to rank your PBNs. You're just trying to pass juice. And so you kind of got to always try to wrap your head around what is the purpose of what this site is. So, and once you understand the purpose, then you can kind of understand the tactic of what you need to do with it. And if the purpose is simply to pass juice, then the tactics kind of change, right? You don't need to worry about on-page SEO, because your purpose is not SEO here. Your purpose is passing juice. So it's kind of like an understanding the whole thing. I don't use Bluehost. I do use Bluehost. I know I use Bluehost for something. Not so many. Yeah, I use Bluehost. There's a couple Bluehost sites. For Australia.names and .net, we can't do full privacy. The only technical contact can be set. Stuart, then, I mean, okay, that's one. This is kind of like what I was just mentioning. It's understanding what is it that you're trying to accomplish and what needs to be done to accomplish that. So, I mean, if you don't have to have .com.au backlinks to rank a site that's a .com.au. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do that. Yeah, is it a little better? Of course, it is a little better. It's more relevant geography-wise. But so you do the best with what you can with the .com.au, and then, you know, obviously diversify. So get some .coms, got some .nets, .uk's, .biz, .tv, whatever, because you're just passing juice.
Yeah.
Martin, yeah, but Googlebot still crawls your site. I'm not sure what that was in reference to anymore.
Spider Spanker.
Spider Spanker, yeah. Yeah, Spider Spanker allows spiders for sure. Thomas, that's not really. I'm gonna try to finish this stuff real quick here, guys. Before I'm gonna go back to the presentation here a little bit, just because I don't want to get too far. So that's post name, plain, whatever, mix it up, stuff like that. Email address, actually, I do use. That's another point I want to make. An email address. Where is it? In general settings. I use a different email for every PBN based on the PBN. So milliesupply.com, the admin email, I'm going to make a milliesupply.com email, and you can see here I chose shop. I always try to make it kind of match the theme. So like we have Millie Supply, which was a military supply shop, so I chose shop at military supply. It's not always admin at, because they can see that. This one, Usenet 2, I probably chose, it's a tech site, so I probably chose something like technology at Usenet 2, stuff like that. That's just the email. It's probably not a huge deal. It just it keeps things a little bit more simple, just as an extra setup step. And then as far as posting, once the PBN is all set up, Spider Spanker's installed, you know, all that stuff set up, a theme is chosen, and then it's time to start backlinking. It's pretty simple, guys, with my articles. It's basically I use iWriter.com, and I get anywhere from 300 to 500 word articles. I vary it. I don't want all 500 word articles on my blog. You know, 300 to 500, sometimes 700. And we'll mix in a bunch of stuff. Sometimes we do pictures. Sometimes we do 1 picture, 2 pictures. Sometimes we do YouTube videos. Sometimes we do, we'll search Google for the keyword, like home insulation is the keyword I'm trying to pass juice for over to my money site. So sometimes I'll go to Google and I'll type in home insulation and see who the authority sites are for home insulation, and I'll link to those to get an authority style link. Sometimes I'll use Wikipedia. I really mix it up on our, well, I don't, my girlfriend, my fiance does. Fiance, I gotta get used to that. And my link to my money site, typically I try to get that nearer to the beginning of the post than the end of the post. That's the only one thing that's kind of, you can see, like, for instance, on these 3 links. Let's go through these 3 posts here. I'm going to line these up because there we go. All right, so Millie Supply, you can see I used a URL link in the second paragraph, and then we used a YouTube video, and then we used an authority link for closed cell SPF, which has something to do with foam insulation. And then on this one, we did 2 images. Home insulation's in the first paragraph. And there is no, oh, there's a flow resistance authority link. And then on this one, we did, there's insulation contractors in Edmonton is the, I'll zoom in a bit, is the anchor text in the first paragraph. Then we did a YouTube video, 2 pictures, an authority link, and another YouTube video. So this one was a little more even. So you can see it's always randomized for my content. I'm going to just see if there's any questions based on that. So it is pretty simple stuff, guys. Like, we're not, you know, trying to land a guy on the moon here. We're just trying to pass juice, really. You know what I mean? Oh, the other thing too, sometimes, guys, we categorize our links, you know. Sometimes like we put housing and technology as the category. In this one we used environments and materials. In this one we didn't do anything. But we do have categories here. We have hardware, miscellaneous, and software because this is a tech blog. So our categories are going to relate to whatever the topical content of our PBN is. And sometimes we use them, sometimes we don't. And the reason we're doing that is just to create kind of chaos. You know what I mean? And not you don't want everything to look the same, even though it's still like by eyeball kind of looks the same. But it's doing to a spider, it's doing a lot of different things. Let me go back here. I see a lot of questions coming in. Do I use security and firewall? Oh boy. No, I don't use any security or firewall plugins, you guys. The plugins that you saw are the plugins that I use. Literally, like 3 plugins tops. Very, very simple setups. What happens when I have a PBN that gets a lot of traffic because it was a really good name? Do you keep it as a PBN? Yeah, well, you could do either. It's up to you. Todd says, get the money.
What happened?
I didn't see your answer there. I was reading that question. What happens if you have a PBN that gets a lot of traffic because it's a good name? Do you keep it as a PBN or change it to a money site? And I said you could do either, and then I read your answer. Take the money.
Yeah. You've got a site big in traffic, man. Take the money.
Yeah, if you can monetize it, if you know how to monetize. Yeah, and you could do both. Like a money site can still pass juice, guys. Like if you're clever about it, you know, this new site that I'm building, this affiliate site, is still going to pass. I'm still going to use it because it's such a powerful site. I'm still going to use it to pass juice to other kind of related money sites. You know what I mean? If you're smart about it. Meaning don't overdo it and don't do it every time. How do I link to authority sites for home insulation or for any niche, Martin? So like with this one, you could. I'll show you what the link was. Spray foam. So we probably Googled something about spray foam, and typically when you Google, you know, anything, the sites that are going to come up are going to be pretty authoritative. Spray foam. If I just did spray foam insulation for an authority link and I'm looking for an authority link, you can look at, you know, Home Depot is obviously an authority figure. They sell shit. Hey, look at that, spray foam insulation Phoenix. I'll have to check this one out. It's because I'm in Phoenix, but Lowe's, you know, there it is right here. Here's the link actually. Green Building Advisor. So you could do this a lot of different ways. You could do it to match the content. Like once the content's written, you can go through and be like, read through it and be like, all right, closed cell SPF. What the hell does that mean, right? So then you go to Google and you look up closed cell SPF because you know it's related to spray foam. There you go. That's probably what happened, guys, is they chose this term and then this is the site that came up. So it's obviously an authority and we link out to it from our PBN so that our PBN looks like it's trying to, the reason we do it is so that our PBN looks like it's trying to be a helpful resource on the topic. So that's how I do that. Videos is the same thing, Brian. You would just go to YouTube and just type in whatever, you know, you could type in closed cell SPF, you could type in spray foam insulation, you could type in military insulation, like anything that kind of is related to what your article is about or what the PBN is about that makes sense. You could do that. And that's the other thing about the content I didn't mention on this particular time. I do talk about it before. With the content, how you order the content is you have to know there's 2 dots that you have to connect. Number 1 is the content, the topical content of your PBN. So in this case, a military supply store. Next dot is we're linking to sprayfoaminsulation.edmonton.net. So the content is spray foam insulation in Edmonton. Now how do I connect a military supply store to a spray foam insulation company in Edmonton, right? So you have to think, okay, how do I do that? And it's, well, you know, we wrote an article about the type of spray foams that were used to warm up military barracks. You know what I mean? Like it's an oddball article. It's way out there. Like who writes about this shit? But that's what we hire the writer to do. I need an article that talks about how they, you know, insulate military barracks. Oh, why don't you come and get up here on the Webby then, Tennille? I hear her chirping because she does all this stuff for us. So
She's correcting you.
she's correcting me right now because this is actually Danielle that does all this stuff. But I taught her. She does it, and Marissa actually does a lot of this stuff for us too. They both do a really good job. Oh yeah, Martin. Okay, so that your earlier question, does Google still crawl? Yes, permalinks. Google doesn't care what your permalinks are as far as crawling your site. How do I choose the videos? By keyword. So once again, guys, you can choose your authority links or YouTube videos based on LSI keywords that are in your article that got written for you. Like you can scan and be like, all right, I want conventional insulation materials to be my keyword, or you can even do like spray foam Edmonton. You know, like if I wanted a video about spray foam Edmonton, you could do either or, and I would actually do both, mix it up. An authority link, Scott Logan, is a link that you're building inside of your blog like this closed cell SPF. It's a site that ranks really well in Google because of its authority for that particular keyword. And the reason we do it is to make our PBN look like we're trying to be a helpful resource to the user. It just kind of portrays that image to Google and helps.
I tell you what, I saw a case study. I'm trying to find it now. I'm not having any luck, but I saw a case study. It basically boils down to they did a side-by-side SEO test where they tried to make identical sites and money sites and all that stuff. You know, and they did a really good job. They explained it all and how they were set up, and they did a really good job of conducting a proper test. And what they found was that sites that were linking to other sites that had authority links on them ranked those properties higher.
I remember something about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it, but that's just the bottom line. You can read it and you'll come to the same conclusion.
And I don't do it every time, guys. Like this. Remember, like all these things we're showing you, like authority links, YouTube videos, pictures, categories, tags. We mix all these up every time. We do some of some and some of the other. As far as this is a money site link, so this is our actual anchor text for the money site link. We used a URL one. Oops, let me back that up. Some people, you know, maximum I personally would do is I would link to one homepage and one inner page of my site, but I'll tell you this, I think 95% of the time we only link once to our money site from a particular post and only once per PBN. But if you wanted to stretch that, you could link to a homepage and an inner page within the same article, but don't do it twice on a PBN. I personally wouldn't. I never have. You might be able to get away with 2 posts, 1 link each, because then your total links from one PBN to one money site is 2. But I wouldn't do it more than that, and I never have. 95% of the time, guys, it's 1 link from 1 post for me per PBN. Radu's gone. Yeah, Joshua, too bad you left because we are going to go over that. He's asking about affiliate site setups, and I will cover that stuff. Tennille is a huge asset to my business. It's a lot of work to run a PBN that big. Plus, guys, like I do rent links on my PBN, so I mean, it's a ton of work. It's nice to have someone to help. How many backlinks do you create to an authority site for your PBN? Martin, I use authority links sometimes on posts and sometimes not. So there's no set number here. Like, let's say milliesupply.com was a full site and it had 20 posts. Anywhere from 8 to 16 of those posts might have an authority link that dealt with the topic of that particular post. So, I mean, there's no rule there at all. The other question, do you create a site name close cell? Can you repeat that question you asked about the site name, Martin? Do you create a site names close cell PBF? I'm not sure what you mean there. but yeah, definitely on a PBN. If I have 20 posts, more than 3 authority links will be headed out. Yeah, for sure. Tennille, how often would you say you build an authority link on a post? 80% of the time? There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth. All right. So that's it for content, for setups. Does anybody have any questions, any more questions for like, let's go questions about the setup process of PBNs? Or even you know, the content and the posting bit. And here was the you guys, this particular spreadsheet, these are the actual 4 links. This was in, I forget what week, when we started talking about linking to these sites. These are the actual 4 PBNs, their domain authority and their page authority, the anchor text, and the URL, the pages that I linked to rank. I think we got to number 4 with these 4 links, and then we did that press cable onto this site, and that pushed it to number 1. This site is ranking number 1 for a ton of shit now, guys, by the way. I can show you that too. That's it. It only took these 4. So this exact spreadsheet is what I gave to you guys a couple of weeks ago, I believe. So you can take a look at it, use this format, use this spreadsheet for setting up your own PBN links and keeping track of things. But it's a good example for you guys. Let me see. Jason, am I grabbing random YouTube videos, or can it be a good idea to import the video into your own channel and embed? No, I wouldn't do that, Jason, because think about what you would do. If you, let's say it was going to take you 10 PBNs to rank a certain site, and what you did is you uploaded 10 YouTube videos all to the same channel and then embedded one video onto each of your PBNs, there's a huge footprint. What do all those PBNs have in common? They share the same YouTube channel embed video, right? That's a bad thing. You don't want to create those kind of footprints. Separate accounts, even separate accounts, I would say, is pushing it, because you're going to be the same owner of all accounts, and Google knows that. If you want to be safe, okay, you don't need to control the video. I would ask you, Jason, why would you want to control the video other than a ranking factor that you're trying to actually rank the video? And you can do that, just don't overdo that. I wouldn't embed a video very much on a PBN if I owned it to rank it. Yeah, you just don't want to create, you just don't want Google to have too much of a path back to you that you own all this shit. That's just, to me, that's how you kind of create footprints. How many backlinks? Okay, covered that. To get a backlink in the authority site with this keyword. Martin, no, I don't think you're quite understanding the, I'll try and cover this, the backlink thing. So the question was, to get a backlink in the authority site with your keyword, do you create a new site with this keyword? So Martin, what an authority link is, it's just a link that you're building on your PBN out to any other site. It doesn't even matter what it is. It just has to be a good authority site, like a strong site, so that Google views your PBN as a good resource. That's all an authority link is. Okay, so what happened here in this instance was they got this article written on Millie Supply to rank spray foam insulation Edmonton. They scanned through it. They saw this word, closed cell SPF, which is definitely related to insulation, which that word, I mean, insulation is related both to the money site and the PBN. So they Googled it. So they went to Google and they looked up what is closed cell SPF. The first site that came up was this one, this green, I'll even go to it, this green advisor. Okay, so this is obviously an authority site for that keyword. So we went back to the PBN and we linked to that page, this page right here, from the PBN, using that anchor text. And the reason we did that is simply to make Google think that we're trying to link to resources, you know, good resources. And that's all an authority link is used for.
Yeah, and it kind of, you know, you kind of want them to think that, hey, if that's an authority link, then the other one you put on there is an authority link as well. And if you think, like, guys, like, think about the big, try and always think too, like the 360 view or the 130,000 foot view.
if you're looking at this PBN, let's take a look at what we have here, okay? We have an old site that used to be a military supply site that's still a military supply site. And then, you know, we created an article that's talking about creating spray foam insulation in military barracks. So that's not out of place. And then because the article is talking about, you know, spray foam insulation, we link out to another insulation site. So that's not out of place. Like, it all makes sense. Nothing's really like, what the hell's going on here? This makes no sense. It all adds up. You know what I mean? And that's what we're trying to accomplish. Even these things, like the categories that we built. I saw somebody ask, do we do categories? Yeah, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. No, I don't allow comments on my blogs. I probably leave them on sometimes, but you can see this one's on. But I don't ever approve them, Thomas. I don't ever approve comments. Because a lot of the times people will try and build a link. What would be smart, though, as I'm kind of talking about this, is to allow comments, and you can strip links out of comments and then let the comment go, because then it creates kind of more content for your blog for free. And you can approve comments. Just make sure you're stripping the links out of them. Nobody's commenting on this blog, though, so whatever.
You know, we used to do for contents is we used to scrape Yahoo Answers for related comments about the topic and post those answers as comments on the pages to give more content that would randomly post contents to make it look like people were showing up. But Yahoo did away with the ability to do that, but it used to work really well.
Hussein, you said the spreadsheet is in your coaching members area. Go to the resource. There's a resources tab there now that we built. So go to your coaching area, go to the resources tab. Kathleen, can we get back to the presentation? You're feeling a little scattered. I'm kind of trying to answer questions that are dealing with the thing that I'm talking about, Kathleen, so I know it is a little bit back and forth, but if you have a specific question about anything, ask it. It's kind of, I've already almost covered everything, so like the PBN setup, I know it's like simple, but it's what works for me. You know, when you register your domains, make sure you use host privacy for your hosting. Use anything and everything. We talked about the bad link neighborhoods, possibly de-indexing your blog for being there, or if not, if you want to take that chance, go ahead. If you don't. WordPress plugins, I use like 4. We use Spider Spanker Nuke every time on my personal PBNs. I guess you'll have to watch the replay. I should have wrote it all down, but then I'm answering questions along the way. Martin, so you're still not getting that authority thing. I'm covering. See his 404 question here.
Someone asked about security earlier, and I just want to comment that, you know, Spider Spanker Nuke in nuclear mode will block any hackers from getting in as well. I have another plugin called Hacker Spanker, which, you know, I use on all my sites as well. But if they're in nuke mode, I don't need to do that. If I'm using Spider Spanker Nuke on PBNs, I don't have to do that. But definitely on money sites, all that free crap plugins, security plugins, won't save you if somebody wants to break in, just so you know. They will alert you that someone did it, but they're not going to stop anything. So I created another plugin that will actually stop most of the ways they break in. Not 100%, but I've never been hacked using it. But Spider Spanker Nuke definitely is great for security.
Martin, are you all clear with the, because I'm reading another question, are you all clear with the authority site link now? I just want to make sure. I'm not sure if I've fully answered you. We'll have to revisit that if you don't answer. You understand what an authority link is. Okay. So guys, that's kind of pretty much it for my setups. They are pretty easy. So I'm gonna just open that up for general Q&A stuff. I'll keep answering all the old questions that we haven't got to yet, but you guys can ask questions about anything now and we'll answer them, because that's it for hosting, backlinking, setups and stuff like that. It's pretty simple. Keep it simple. It's always worked for me. So Joe says, I have multiple PBNs with little content. Should I worry about getting a thin content penalty on those PBNs? I have heard of the thin content penalty. I would definitely try to get some content on your PBNs, Joe, especially if they're expensive and you care about them. I've lost a few PBNs that didn't have any content on them. I don't know whether it was because they didn't or not. But I mean, like Millie Supply, for instance, only has, I think, 3 posts on it, and it's okay. All my sites start with 0 posts. So just try to get content on them as quick as you can to avoid that, for sure.
I have another plugin that I created several years ago called Content Amigo, and what it did you ever use that plugin, Herc?
Nah.
Yeah.
Heard of it.
What we used it for was backfill content. So, in other words, every time we made a post that was a money post with a money link in it, we made it sticky. And if you go into the back of your dashboard inside of WordPress, you can make a post sticky. Okay,
Yeah,
and what sticky does makes it stays on the home page. And then Content Amigo would every few days go out and grab an article and post it as backfill, and that would provide us that would help us not get any kind of thin content penalty.
Sorry, I'm just looking for that.
Google Webmaster Tools. I don't think it's a huge deal for PBNs as much as money sites. What the thin content penalty really means is you're basically just an affiliate site with very little content, and you're just trying to get people off the site onto an offer. That's really what it means. But I guess it can be applied to sites that just have, one post. One of the other reasons for posting regularly to your blog is that WordPress has a built-in system, a built-in pinging system. Okay, so every time you make a post on WordPress, it pings the search engines and tells them that you have something new just happened. And they come and traverse your blog, and then they pick up that link again, right? So it just keeps them coming back. The more you ping those search engines, the more they come back, the more they see that your link exists, and the more they, follow it. So that's another reason why I like to post content periodically on the back end. And as long as your money posts or checkbox is sticky, then the new posts won't push them down and won't push them off the first page. What are you looking for?
That ping area. Right. It's one of these. I'm just trying, because I saw Ashraf was like, what are you talking about, ping?
Yeah, it's right there. Right there you go. So Ping-O-Matic is really all you need. Back in the day, we used to have a whole list of those, and then a couple of them started getting pissy about being used too much, and it just came down to just use Ping-O-Matic, and you're fine. You don't have to change anything.
What this does for anyone that doesn't know is anytime you create a change to your site, add a post, add a page, change a post, change a page, whatever, it will send out information to this ping service, and this ping service notifies spiders to come and check out the changes on your site. It's like a spider activity. It's like spider bait.
Yeah, absolutely. You can just go to pingomatic.com and input a site as well. So if you have like an HTML site or something that's not using this, then you can just simply go to Ping-O-Matic, type, so check all, and send pings.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's what this is for. Joe started a brand new site. You started a brand new site. You imported B-theme demo content. Your spam score shot to 10 out of 17. Should I be concerned? Remove the demo content, I would say.
Yeah, definitely replace all that demo content on any kind of import.
That's probably why your spam score went so high, is because you have a duplicate content. Like if everybody does what you're doing with B-theme, it's that same content is everywhere on the internet. So just get rid of that stuff. Okay. Do you really need to keep adding an article per month if it doesn't? Stuart, those are extra precautionary steps you can take. Like fresh content is definitely something we all know Google loves. So doing it to your PBN is definitely gonna help. Is it necessary? Nothing's really necessary, except for Spider Spanker Nuke is kind of necessary. I don't do it, to be honest. But I believe that I don't need to, because I have a PBN rental service, guys, so I have enough content coming into all my PBN sites that it is kind of fresh anyway, so that's maybe why I don't kind of need it. But yeah, I'm probably posting at least once every 2 to 4 weeks on every site, which is pretty good on the PBNs. And that's because of PBN rental site. And I'll tell you this, guys, if I didn't have a PBN rental business, I wouldn't have 150 PBNs. Some people like brag about the size of the PBNs like it's, you know, who gives a shit? If you have 1,000 PBNs and you're only using 100, you're a fool. I say grow as you need to grow. Because I'll tell you this, managing a PBN of that size takes a lot of time and talent and tools. Do I use Google Analytics on PBNs? No, Steve, I don't. There's nothing I need to analyze.
And you'll link them together, so don't ever do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could use that stupid email, you know, that I set up and go set up a Gmail, but it's just, yeah, there's just no point to it.
No. You could use some free stuff if you wanted. I mean, if you want to just put a plug-in to see your traffic, there's a plug-in called WhatsUp, WASSUP, and it'll tell you what traffic's coming in. There's just no centralized system for it.
Even Jetpack, I think, has a... I don't use Jetpack.
I created a service called StatZoomer a long time ago. It still works, but and put them all. We used to use that. You could see everything from a central dashboard. It's pretty cool. I ought to bring it back up.
I'm at Martin again. So Martin's asking about... My question is, how do you get a link in their site? I don't get a link in their site, Martin. I put their link on. I put a link to their site from mine. I can't ever do anything with anyone else's site. I do use their sites to link. I link to their site because they're an authority, and that makes Google think that I'm trying to be helpful. Okay, Hussein. Okay, the schema. Should the contact details be shown visual on the page or not required? Well, if it's an actual money site, Hussein, so this is not about the PBN stuff, guys, just so you know. Hussein asked about schema, and should the contact details be shown on the page. And obviously, if you're trying to get phone calls, then yeah, you need to show the contact details on the page. If you don't care, then it doesn't matter. But if you're actually trying to get people to phone that phone number, then yeah, definitely put it on the site. Is it a ranking factor if it's on your site? Yeah, I imagine it would be. If you have, you know, your schema says your phone number is 1-800, you know, mow lawns, and you have that same phone number on your site too in the actual content, that's a good thing. Joe, you registered a new domain, no movement. Okay, after a few PBNs, still no movement. Turns out it had been picked up and dropped 4 times. Can that affect rankings? Not quite sure I understand what you mean. What do you mean picked up and dropped 4 times? Into the index, out of the index, into the top 100, out of the top 100? And can that affect rankings? I mean, it sounds like it is affecting rankings. I think we would need a bigger picture there, dude. How can you tell if there's a thin content penalty if you have thin content, you're not ranking well. It's a good indicator. Google Webmaster Tools on your actual site, your money site, is a good thing to have. They'll tell you any manual penalties that you have against you. I'm not sure thin content, they don't actually come out and say you have thin content. You know, they'll say you violated the Google TOS. Go research the TOS and fix your site and come back when it's done. From there, it's kind of up to you to decide, what did I do wrong and how do I fix it? Like that one site I got de-indexed was a thin content penalty. It was doorway page penalty, actually. So you have to read the TOS and understand it. But, I mean, thin content is thin content. You should know yourself if you have thin content, for sure. Scott, am I looking for quality content for my PBNs or just cheap articles or even spun content? No, I don't use spun content for anything in my life. I don't even, nothing, zero. I get my PBN articles from iWriter, and I hire, I think it's $3 an article. And in my iWriter settings, my special instructions, I say no spun content, no copied content. If you're caught, you will be banned from my hire list. Because, I mean, what's $3 for, you know, I mean, I understand if you need 100 links, it's $300, but if you have 100 links, you're probably making money. So I use good content. Can I show you how to keep a post on top of the blog? Here, Bill. That's what I was headed for earlier. I have to hide something here real quick. Because I'm not hiding something from you guys because I don't want to show it to you. It's just I rent links out on my site. And I don't want to show you guys my client links just because I treat my clients pretty fairly. And if you were a client, you would appreciate it. So please don't think I'm trying to hide stuff from you. But I will show you how to do that, Bill, right now. Basically, if you go to your posts and you choose it as a sticky post when you publish it, it means it'll stick to the top of the blog, of the feed. Oh, here we go. My WordPress is a little slow. That's the other thing, guys, with shitty hosting. Sometimes your stuff is slow. So right here, guys, visibility. So this is a post. If you go to visibility and you say right here, stick this post to the front page. If I were to click this, because I have other posts on here, this post would be moved up to the very front post and would stay the front post. If I had 2 stickies, it would go in order of when they were published. 3 stickies, same thing. But that's how you can stick something to the very. So if you have a link, say you have a PBN with, you know, 10 articles, but you really want your one article to be at the top of your PBN, because Google does weight your links. You know what I mean? The ones at the top are going to pass more juice than the ones at the bottom. So say this one's really important to you, then stick it to the top. And that's all you have to do is use this to do that. Hussein, off topic, but on your analytics account, many of my sites, there's a rank tracker.online referral showing that exceeds hugely when an organic traffic is the way to solve this. I honestly, Hussein, I don't know, man. I don't.
That's called referral spam. And what they're doing is just trying to get you to notice that they exist because you're a webmaster, and then when you see that in your referrals, you go and see what it is, and then you find out that they offer something. Apparently, they're a rank tracking service that's using the referral spam tactic for their marketing, and it pisses everyone off pretty bad. How to solve it? It's a good question. It's been a real big topic over the past year. I've read some pretty complicated answers to that, but you know, you're kind of on your own there. You probably should just Google how to stop referral spam, and you'll find a lot of people talking about it, and then, you know, try and pick up on some tactics to try and solve it. I just tried to solve it with Spider Spanker one time, and I wasn't successful just yet. I may need to revisit that topic, but yeah.
Martin, I don't use any tools. I just post straight into the I have spreadsheets, you know, something like this where I know if I need to log into Good Dog, to post a link, I just log in and post it.
But we may be making something.
Yeah, there might be something on the way though to manage everything and make it easier. Do I allow the SERPs to index? Sorry, what's that, Todd?
Go ahead. I was just going to, that question, go ahead.
Do I allow the SERPs to index the privacy and terms of use pages? Depends if you're talking about a money site. Typically, yes. The answer for me would be typically yes. Why not? You know what I mean? I don't see a reason to no index privacy or terms of use pages. Todd, you might have a different answer. I don't.
I would say it's fine. I definitely believe that terms of service and privacy policy do make you cooler in Google's eyes. So yes, allow it.
Yeah, there's no reason to not. If you can come up with a good reason to not index those, then I'm all ears for sure. Yeah, Jason, that's what we're going to work on our own, a WordPress manager, so that you can manage all your money sites, all your PBNs from a central interface. Might even build that into version 3 of Project Supremacy, just because there'd be a lot of things to manage. You can manage Project Supremacy, your schema, you know, all that shit. Stuart, yeah, for my stats, I personally, I mean, obviously on my money sites and stuff like that, I do have Google Analytics, but I don't really use it for stats nearly as much as I use StatCounter for stats. I like StatCounter. I've used it for so long. I've just become very used to it. And it's free, and they have a WordPress plugin for WordPress sites that it's easy to hook it up, and I just like it. It used to be way cooler when Google didn't block all the keyword information. Now they block like 99% keyword information.
Yeah.
Joe, I think you asked that question. Registered a new domain, no movement after a few PBNs. Still no movement. Turns out I had been picked up. Okay, so Majestic shows no link history, but I'm still getting no movement. Joe, I'd have to honestly see the site, man, until like I mean, I'm not quite understanding your full situation, and it's hard to tell you what's right or what's wrong without knowing the full situation. I mean, a brand new domain is gonna, let's assume you've done things really well. It's normal for a site to pop in and out of the top 100. I wouldn't say indexed and de-indexed. Okay. One thing to be very, very clear about, guys, is the difference between falling out of the rankings and being de-indexed. This is how you check if a site is in Google's index. What Google's index is the sites that they will show in the searches if it's a good enough site. It doesn't mean it will show, it means it has the ability to show. So, and the way to check that is just do the site : spray foam, whatever your domain is. Okay. This means these pages exist inside of Google's index, and if SEO is done to each of these pages properly enough, they'll actually show up really well on the front page. This doesn't mean you're going to rank. Just because you're on all this means is Google sees you and allows your pages to be there. Ranking, though, in the top 100 to 200, like those keyword rank trackers, if they show NA, here, and I'm going to show that, that doesn't mean you're de-indexed. That just means you're not ranking. You can be indexed and not be ranking. It happens all the time. But you have to know the difference. It's very important to know the difference, because one thing you don't want to think is that you're not indexed just because you're not in the top 100. That's brand new sites appear that way all the time. All right, let me I'm just logging in to show you guys an example of that so it's more clear. Okay, here we go. Okay, spray foam. This is for the spray foam site, guys. Spray foam insulation, Edmonton. Okay, we've all seen this. Okay, oh shit. Unfortunately, all the keywords are ranking at least somewhat. But if like this little symbol here, okay, so that means last month this page wasn't even showing up. If someone searched Edmonton insulation, the page wasn't even showing up in the top 100 results, which is, it seems like it's de-indexed, but it's not. It's just not ranking. Okay, that's what that means. That's the difference. So index, guys, this is how you check an index. Site, domain.com, .net, .org, whatever. If your information shows up here, good. That means you are indexed. De-indexed looks like this. This means the site exists. You can go to this site and check it out, and it's probably there. But if it doesn't show up, Google will not ever show it in their search because they de-indexed your site out of their index. Hopefully that's clear. Do I point any backlinks to my PBNs? No, Bill, I don't. I don't. I mean, the way I buy PBNs, there's enough backlinks pointing to them already that I don't really need to do that.
I think I'm going to have to cut out here.
All right.
Got to get over to pick up my son.
I can hang out here and answer the rest of these. I don't think we got much time left anyways. Dupe content, Abdul, for privacy policy and terms. Yeah, I think that part's okay. I mean, really, once again, you know, what are you trying to accomplish with your privacy page and your contact page? Are you trying to rank them? No? Then don't worry about content penalties.
Yeah, privacy policies and stuff like that. Only thing you really need to change is, you know, the name of the site, the domain name that's in there. You know, you do want to do a search and replace, and yeah. But other than that, don't worry about it because everybody else's privacy policies.
Yeah, it's all based off plugins and template shit. You're like, but nobody cares. Remember, guys, you always have to ask yourself, what am I trying to accomplish? You know, start asking yourself some questions. Do I need to rank my privacy policy page? Do I need to rank my my contact page? No, I don't need to rank them, but I do need them to exist so that Google sees they're there. You know what I mean? Kind of that sort of line of thinking.
All right. So is anybody going to be mad at me if I leave now? Because
Tom's got to grab the kids.
Yeah, I got to go to practice.
Yeah, Bill's not cool with that.
Bill says, no way, Jose. Sorry, guys. I will make it up to you. We are doing, you know, as you probably know, we're extending 2 more weeks for coaching. Yay. We just can't get enough of you guys, so we added 2 more weeks to just, you know, continue going over some whatever you guys want to talk about, really. You know, I mean, we have some agendas, but so we're turning 6 weeks into 8 weeks for you guys. But I'm going to let Herc take the reins, let him go all on his own. So, hey, you know what, guys? If he starts cussing, nothing I can do about it. I'm just going to have to deal with it.
There they are.
Yes. Don't forget to drink.
Okay. All right. See you later.
I'll talk to you later, Herc.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, sorry guys, just I'll continue on answering these questions. Martin's asking if I hook stat counter to my PBN, and no, I don't, because I don't really care what kind of traffic my PBN gets. Hey Todd, are you still there? Todd, can you mute your mic before you go? Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll mute Todd. Let me see. Attendees. Todd. Mute. All right, there. Okay, so no, I don't hook stat counter to my PBNs because I don't really care what kind of traffic my PBNs are getting. The only purpose of my PBNs is to pass juice. Some people say, and it's starting to come up more, that PBNs that have real live traffic, real live social signals and stuff like that, definitely Google trusts them more. You know, it makes Makes more sense. But still, stat counter tracking wouldn't increase that. It would just tell me that it's happening. So if anything, what may come for me, what might come is that PBN boosting. The stuff we covered this in the Power Ranker webinar. They do that. They do that back end. They boost their PBNs with social signals and stuff like that. But I don't yet. But it's something that is on the radar for sure that I might have to start doing. Bill, yeah, you can just go to hercmagnus.com. What can you do if your site has been de-indexed, Martin? It's kind of a shitty situation. If your site does get de-indexed, first thing you have to kind of try to find out, if you want to get it back, you have to try to find out why it got de-indexed. You know, was it a penalty? Was it an actual manual review? It's a really tough thing to do to get sites re-indexed. I know there's guys out there that are really supposedly real pros at it. I'm not one of them. When my sites get de-indexed, I kiss them goodbye. I don't even try to get them back typically. I've heard you can 301 them still too. There's certain ways. I haven't done that, so I don't even want to talk about it, but there's definitely things you can do. I just kiss them goodbye. Using site : shows my PBN subpage is not indexed, but if I go to Google Webmaster for the money site, it shows that the link is there. You're confused. So I'm assuming you mean you're doing like, okay, so I'm going to take Millie Supply, for instance. Okay, and you're trying to check if your site is indexed. So you're doing site.domain.com and your subdomain is not showing up. What I would do in that instance is actually do the subdomain like that, and you have to site check your subdomain as well and see if that shows up. If it's not showing up on the index but it's showing up in your Webmaster Tools, I wouldn't know who to believe. That's a tough one. Sorry, Ralph, I've never seen that situation where Webmaster Tools and the actual index were having conflicting information. Who's saying you just had a keyword go from 4 to 101. It was stable for a while and then just happened. Other keywords are okay. What could this be? That's impossible to tell just from a question, Hussein. It's just so impossible. There's so many things that can affect a keyword moving up or down in a search engine that just by asking that question, I could never, ever even come close to answering it. Ashraf, a good keyword research software. I think, man, depends what you're trying to do keyword research for, but man, Google AdWords tool is great. It's free. Go inside Project Supremacy and watch the video on how I do keyword research for Project Supremacy and stuff like that. And then ranking multiple keywords per page. That's what I would say. It's free and it's super effective. If you build your sites the Project Supremacy way, you can rank for some good stuff. Joe, how about algorithmic spam penalties? My site is indexed and I still have no movement. Webmaster Tool shows no manual penalties. Joe, if you don't have any manual penalties, like if you're looking in Webmaster Tools and it's not showing any penalties and you're not ranking, it's either because your site is not optimized well, your links, if you have links, are either over optimized or not powerful, or you're just in too competitive of a market. All right. Bill, you were thinking of making a large blog and doing AdSense. Have I ever done this? Actually, I have. There was a cool kind of tactic I used to use where I would go search for long tail keywords. Okay, these were the metrics I would look for. I would look for CPC over $5. I would look for it to be at least a 4-word keyword, so a long tail keyword. And then I would look for kind of somewhat low competition with an EMD available. And I found a lot of them in the more like the how-to type keywords that start with the word how-to do this, how to do that. Because those keywords aren't going to convert for sales, but sometimes if you have your CPC set high enough and you rank those sites and you put them in AdSense on them, you can make a lot of money. And I have done that. That's kind of actually where I got my start and how I made my first bit of money was that strategy, Bill. And I think I started writing a guide on it, and maybe I'll explain that situation again on my site or something. Yeah, John, anybody that bought coaching is gonna have access to all the videos. We're probably gonna package them up. You'll still have access to everything. Would I buy social signalers off Fiverr, Tom? Never have. I'd be really careful of personally. I just Fiverr scares me, especially with money sites. You know, I've never done it. I've never needed to. Greg, what is a 301? A 301, you can actually Google these terms, but there's like a 301 and there are 302, and it's a redirect code. It's a status code that when, let's say a site no longer exists, say it was 301, what it means is that the site, let's just use a.com, okay? Let's say this was a domain, and for whatever reason, the owner of it wanted it to point to b.com. What they would do is set up a 301 redirect, which would tell Google a.com needs to forward to b.com. So that's what a 301 is. It's a way to set up an automatic redirect so that all traffic that tries to access one site is automatically redirected to another. The ranking factor of 301s is that 301s, if you were to 301 like a PBN to a money site, all the juice of the PBN and all the penalties, by the way, would get pushed onto the money site. So people use 301s for SEO purposes, but that's a pretty advanced tactic. You have to be really careful and really know what you're doing to use them, and I would not advise you guys on it because I am not really proficient in that myself. Steve, do I use Wikipedia for authority links? Sometimes, not all the times. My authority links kind of come from the content that I'm working on. So like for instance, that military supply, they scrolled through, they saw this word, closed cell SPF, they Googled it, and the site that came up top it's obviously an authority site. It wouldn't be ranked number one if it wasn't an authority. And so I got an authority link for this keyword, which is related to the content. Sometimes we use Wikipedia. We used to always use Wikipedia, but that was it was just so stupid thinking back to always use a Wikipedia link. Bills, where could you go to find link rentals from PBN? Just Google it. Google it or Facebook it. There's even in the rank and rent guide, Bill, that's in the bonus area of Project Supremacy, I give you, I think, 5 or 6 links of Facebook groups where you can go rent links from. Martin, Google sometimes changes keyword weights and people may stop searching for a service using that keyword. So, yeah, Martin's kind of just commenting on, you know, guys, like my rankings, if you look at even spray foam, nothing is static. Like there's always little undulations up and down over time, hopefully mostly up, but you're always going to see movement up, down, you know, stuff like this. And this is all the way, you know, that's 16 there, it's 7 here, it's 15 here, it's 7 here. It's just normal for keywords to move for a million different reasons, guys. There's new websites coming, old websites going, Google algorithm changes, you're building new links, you're subtracting links, you're changing on page, you're changing titles. There's just an infinite amount of things that are going on all at one time that are going to affect the way your site is ranking for a particular webinar. Stuart, help desk tickets I'll have to get to later on. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. I'd send me like a comment on Facebook or something. It's just that we have so many members now, guys. We have like 4,000 members in Facebook groups. We get a lot of, everybody wants something, so it gets a little hard sometimes to deal with things. Ashraf, how to audit your own website for SEO. I'm not sure if that's in what you're saying there is in relation to anything, or just ask that question again in a full concept. Should we link out to authority sites from your money sites? No, Scott, I wouldn't do that unless it made sense. Then I wouldn't do that. And by making sense, meaning like you actually needed to or wanted to link. We do it on a PBN because it serves a purpose. On a money site, it wouldn't really serve a purpose. You could. I mean, you could try it, I guess. Jason, you're indexed, but I'm with him. I don't know who him is. I'm not sure if I'm under or over optimized on my on-page SEO. Also, how long do you give once you make a change? Is 1 week good enough? Oh, that's kind of a hard question to answer too. I'll tell you this, guys, like when you're making changes to websites, if you're in less competitive environments, like local or really long tail stuff, your changes should take effect faster because you're up against a lot less websites. But in really competitive affiliate sites, like if you were in like weight loss and you made a site change, it might take a little longer to see a real change. There's no hard rule there, man. You just have to decide when you've waited long enough to make another change. And I think the more changes you make, the more you'll understand how long it actually takes something to change. Like it's just kind of like an experience that you get, that you start, sensing things like that. Martin, we actually covered that in the last webinar. He's asking about the third video for PBNs. I shot, what happened there, guys, was those videos I shot a while ago for my blog, hercmagnus.com, and then I was going to shoot that third video, but I actually changed my mind, and I didn't want to release that content, because if I teach people to get PBNs the way I do, then I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot for my business. But in the coaching group, I actually did that strategy live, and that was the fresh drop strategy, how I drop catch domains, like really good stuff for 20 bucks. So go to last week's live replay, and I talk about the fresh drop strategy after the juicy domains stuff, and that's basically the content of the third video. No, Martin, the 50-minute video was video number 2. The third video was never shot. It's in the replay. I did that live on the webinar, on the coaching webinar. Melissa, in the schema markup, is there a same as markup? Yes, Melissa. The same as markup is the social profiles. That's same as. And you watch the training video on that, Melissa, because that's it talks about that. We might relabel it or something. Maybe it'll make more sense if we relabel it, because it is same as markup, the social stuff. Ronald, how do you get more advanced info on the 301? It would be useful for your client sites. You know, guys, there's a really cool SEO that I know is a real pro at 301s. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. His name's Yasher Garlifu. And he's really young, but he's a real pro at extremely advanced stuff. And him and I have kind of been doing a lot of chatting, and I'd love to bring him on a webinar to maybe teach you guys some like more advanced tactics like that 301. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not a pro at it. I haven't really used it, and I don't want to send you guys down a path without me having, you know, any experience with it. I'll bring on a pro though. I'll ask Yasher if he wants to come on and talk about 301s if you guys want. Maybe Martin's saying a name that might be related to 301s. I'm not sure if that's what that guy's name is. Greg, how about going to Fiverr to find social media manager for a church? Oh man, like I honestly, dude, paying someone $5 to be a social media manager for any business is kind of a bad idea, to be fully honest with you. Like, you know, you kind of get what you pay for in this world, and I understand the need to save money, but some Fiverr guys just going to use automated tools. The reason these guys are able to do this stuff for so cheap is because they use automated tools. And automated tools typically will get you into trouble a lot of the times. Scott, never heard of Supreme Traffic Bot, so I can't really comment on that. I don't really use social signals either, guys. Like Spray Foam Edmonton, you guys saw how I ranked that site. Like I literally showed you guys everything that I did to rank this site, and I didn't do social. I didn't even build social properties. I didn't do social signals. I didn't do citations. I didn't do any of that. I literally used good on-page, good keyword research, good on-page, and 4 links and 1 press release, and that's what got that to #1. And So sorry, I can't help with social signal stuff. I've never used it. Bill, how do I know if a domain name got their links from GSA or any other spam program? Probably just the volume of links they got in a period of time, I would assume. If all of a sudden you go to like Majestic or Ahrefs, Ahrefs is a really good one for researching backlinks. If you go to Ahrefs and you see a domain that all of a sudden had maybe 2,000 links and all of a sudden they have like 6,000 in a week, that's typically a sign of like GSA style link building. When you're buying PBN links, what should you be on the look for? Metric only or relevance? Say there's a cat within a computer niche with low metrics. Should I buy this? Hussein, the things that you should look for when you're buying a PBN link to rent are the same thing that you're looking for when you're buying a PBN link to buy. There's not really much difference. You want to make sure the domain, has, we really went over this in the last webinar, so I'd suggest watching that again. But you really want to make sure that you have good trust, you have a balanced citation and trust flow, you have domain authority, you have a clean profile in the Wayback Machine, meaning in the archive.org Wayback Machine, meaning that your site maintained its original theme all the way through its content. It didn't turn into some other site and then turn into some other site. You're looking for strong, trusted, good content. Relevance-wise, I kind of talked to you guys about how I do things. A spray foam and a military supply site don't really have the same relevance, but we make it have the same relevance by writing an article that connects those two dots. So I would ask your link renter stuff like that. This is also how we run our own link rental service. I do the same thing. I don't let people supply the content to my PBN. I supply it because I want to control what my PBN's about. So you could just get with your link seller and ask them a bunch of questions. Your second question is, where do you place landing pages? Do these go on the home page or blog pages? How many homepage links can be purchased to save safe under the radar? Hussein, all my links are homepage links, first of all, from PBNs. So there's no number. I mean, I'm not building I get what you're saying, where if I had 1,000 links coming to a site, if it took me like 1,000 links to rank a site and they were all homepage links, that would be pretty weird. But I'm typically building less than 10 links and they're all homepage, which is okay. I don't quite understand what you mean by where do you place your landing page. Do those go on the homepage or blog pages? I guess it doesn't really matter if whatever you're trying to rank, just build links to wherever it is, either the homepage or the inner page. I'm not really sure what you mean there. Making external links from your money site is not suggested, for you are making the visitor get out of your site. Okay, Martin's just giving, yeah, he's saying when you guys are building money site, when you're building a money site, and if you link out to something, that not an affiliate program, I guess, if maybe it's just something that's similar to what your money site is about, you're giving the visitor an opportunity to leave your site without making any money. So it's like not recommended, but it's up to you really. You guys get to do whatever you want. How to study a competitor's website for SEO? Tools like Majestic or Ahrefs, like really, let's say you wanted to rank for how to lose weight in your face. That's a good one. Let's do that. Okay, and then we're looking for kind of a site. The question was, how do you study your competitors? And I'm looking for a kind of a blog. This is obviously pretty competitive still. Let's just go to this guy. Okay, the things you could do to analyze this guy if you wanted to beat him is press Control U to look at his title, his description. You're spying on him here, what he's doing. You'll get a lot of information from the background of his site. Like we know that this guy's using Yoast. We know what his title is and stuff like that. How to lose weight on the face, in as little as 2 weeks. We can probably look at his description, stuff like that. Then you would take this over to Majestic. I personally use Majestic. It is a paid, you can have a free account, but they'll block you if you do too many searches. I pay for it. And then put in the URL. Whoops, I put in view source. And then this is how you're going to study. So basically you're doing the same thing. You're studying their on page, right, by looking at this, and then you're going to study their off page by looking at this. And that's how I would look at a competitor's SEO. No, Catherine, I have not used Rank YZ, WYZ. Martin, should you buy a domain for your money site or should you start it from scratch? I'm assuming you're meaning should you buy like an expired or an auction domain or a brand new domain? And the difference there is basically if you start with a brand new domain, you start with zero authority, zero trust, zero everything, versus if you were to buy like an auction domain, you're starting with a bunch of backlinks, you're starting with a bunch of trust. You know, you have a huge head start. Now, the only thing I would say is if you're going to do, like, for instance, you know, a site about weight loss, make sure that the auction domain or the expired domain or the drop catch domain, whatever domain you're buying, does relate to weight loss, so that essentially you're buying that site with all of its backlinks already there. So make sure the backlinks are relevant to the site content so that, you know, you're building your money site content on a site that's about what your money site is going to be about. It just makes it easier for you. Yeah, Ashraf, we can show that. So here's spray foam. The keywords that we rank for are all these. He asked us, can you see what keywords we're ranking for spray foam? So we're number 1 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 keywords. Number 3 for 1, number 5 for 1, number 7 for 1, number 9 for 2, number 10 for 1. We have a couple number 12s, 13, 14. You can see like all these keywords are ranking. But our number ones, our traffic is like 320 plus 70s, 390, 480, 510, 530, 620 search a month volume for our number ones, which is really good. And that's all because we do the Project Supremacy style SEO. We're ranking multiple keywords per page. It's really cool. And this applies to affiliate sites too. A blog would link to a blog page, not a money page. So I was asking about a variation of anchors. I'm not sure what you mean there, Hussein. A blog could link to anything. Like a blog is just a WordPress site like this. I could link to a page. I could link to a money site. I can link to whatever I want. I'm not quite sure what your question is there. Is the 20 posts the amount of posts you would add to a PBN before starting a new PBN? Do you suggest a max number of posts? Yeah, 20 is kind of the max number that I use on a PBN, simply because the more links you put on a PBN, the more diluted the power gets. So think of it like, let's say your PBN is like a bucket full of water, okay? And you want that water, which is like the juice, to flow into other sites. So you poke a hole in the bucket. And the more holes you poke in the bucket, the faster all the water flows out. So I only use like 20 because I only want that flowing to like 20 sites, not 100 sites, because it just dilutes the power, if that's a good analogy. Is my authority link on my PBN a no-follow link, Bill? No, it's not. It could be. You could do that sometimes. You could do it not. Ralph saying there's a group buy for Majestic Ahrefs. Yeah, you can go to Facebook and do group buy for Majestic to get it way cheaper, because Majestic is expensive, and I did do that for a while. I will warn you guys, the problem with doing that is that when you go on a shared account on Majestic, everything you're looking up is stored, and other people can look up what you're looking up and steal your ideas. That's the only real danger I saw of doing it that way. But for the money-saving purposes, it's pretty awesome. What keys did I use to see that weight loss site off page? Okay, Melissa. So when I want to see, it's basically one of two things. You can right-click and view page source, or you can press Control-U, which is right here. And what that's going to do is it's going to show you This is the entire HTML code of the site. And the things I typically look for in here, if I press Control F and search for title, I'm looking for this title, not the OG title, because this is Open Graph data, meaning this is the title that would show up on social profiles, but I'm looking for the actual title. Next, I'd be looking for the description. So maiden name, description, content. And we know the keyword that she's going after is how to lose weight in your face or something. So you can see her title is how to lose weight on the face. Her description, you can lose fat on your face, blah, 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 blah. So it's like an LSI. And then from there, I'm just looking at other shit like she uses Yoast. And then that's about it. Oh, you can also look at H1 to see if she has any H1. How to lose weight on your face. So it's another LSI. So she's got pretty decent. Here's an H2, causes for facial fat. So you can see she's using H2 there. How to lose weight on the face. So you can just do a lot of spying on their on page by doing that sort of stuff. Stuart, no, I can't really talk about, he's asking about the Web 2.0, the 100 blog Web 2.0 network that John Pierce is giving people that are buying Power Ranker. But I did set up in the Project Supremacy group, which is, where the heck is it? In the Project Supremacy group, guys, I pinned the, for anyone that has any questions about that, I pinned it to the top. So Stuart, go ahead and right here, go ahead and ask your question. And John Pierce is tagged in this, and he'll be able to answer your questions there. This is only staying open for another day because so many people had more questions about it. So we opened it and we got John to come in here and start answering posts. But he is in the UK, so he's not going to start answering posts for a while because he's sleeping right now. All right, guys, we're getting at the 2-hour mark, so I'm only going to take a few more questions just so the replay doesn't screw up. You have a lot of keywords ranking. How do you write multiple keywords per page? Martin, you have to watch the training, dude. We covered how that site is ranking for so many keywords in this coaching. That's what this coaching was about. So if you go back to, I believe, oh, I forget what week it was, but it was talking about how I set up Project Supremacy to target all these keywords. That's where you're going to get the info about that. Yeah. Okay, does iWriter write my articles for me with multiple keywords? Typically, no. I mean, you could specify these keywords need to appear in there, but I don't worry about that. I also cover that in the coaching. We talked about how I get my content ordered. So I'd suggest checking that out. But if I need them to write an article about Edmonton spray foam installers in Edmonton, by default, they're going to use a lot of good synonyms, a lot of good LSIs. They're going to use a lot of stuff that's related to this. The language of the article is naturally going to be good. I don't need to like really direct it. If you want to, you can. You can always use Project Supremacy to see what your keyword densities are for particular keywords. Just pop them in the keyword checker. But I don't really worry too much about that stuff, personally. Can we find out about which site, which keywords they are ranking for? SEMrush, Ashraf will tell you if you go to SEMrush, that's a paid account, but if you really want to spy on people and what keywords their site is ranking for, SEMrush will tell you that stuff. Any way of blocking the view of a page source? No, I don't know if there is, Ronald. Bill, do we have any other products coming out for? Yeah, I think Todd and I are going to put together our own PBN service to build you guys PBNs or to rent you PBN links or stuff like that, just to kind of support. Because PBNs, there's a lot. I mean, we can either sell you PBNs, we can either build you PBNs, or we can rent you PBN links. So and it seems like everybody has different needs. So we're going to try and accommodate everything. But it does take a lot of time to build this stuff. We're also still only 2 guys trying to keep up with Project Supremacy, which is growing, you know, with all the updates and all the requests and stuff and all the support. It's pretty hard to keep up to everything right now. What are the dates of the Extra 2 training? If you log into your coaching area, Ronald, we supplied the dates. Basically, they're just going to be on Tuesdays. I think we've set them for the 26th and the 3rd or something like that. The dates are in your coaching area, though, so you can check them out there. And I will give you guys one last chance to ask any more questions about today's content. Do I know what keywords? Anybody else got any more questions? Otherwise, we will stop the recording, stop the webinar, and get that recording up. Do you lose contact after the bonus? No. I mean, we're still in the group. We're not going anywhere. We just won't. We're not going to do these webinars after the 8 weeks. We might start something new, I guess. I don't know. We'll have to see what you guys want. And all right, guys, I think that's about it for questions. So I'm going to end it there. Doesn't look like much else is coming in. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks so much, guys, for being on again. Next week's time is posted. Oh, for those of you that are wondering about the videos, we're past the point of videos that we recorded. So the stuff that we're going to teach you guys in obviously starting today and then next week's coaching plus the 2 bonuses are just going to be live. There's no pre-recorded materials for that stuff. Next week, I think we're going to go over selling strategies since we covered PBN stuff more than we were initially planning to. We're going to go over some of the selling strategies, some tools you can use to manage clients when you get clients for like auto billing and making sure billing looks really pro and it's not going to take you guys time, stuff like that. And then we'll make sure to those last 2, I don't know, it might be just open Q&A or maybe we'll come up with some topics or you guys can decide. We don't know. All right, guys. I am going to end it there. So we will see you in the group and see you in next week live. Talk to you soon.